SharePoint knowledge agents can do a lot of things. But so today what I want to do is just dive into how they add these little AI columns and show you not only how to use them, how to work with them, edit them, delete them, all those fun things. But more importantly, maybe not more importantly, but also I want to make sure you understand why I care so much, right? They've really unlocked a lot of doors for me recently around agent building. And so I want to show you this wonderful tool to get the metadata out so that we can have better agents. If that sounds like fun, then let's switch over to my desktop and take a look. Let's start by kind of seeing what we're going to build. So this is a SharePoint document library and a modern site. And that's important, right? You have to have a modern site for the whole knowledge agent to work. You also have to have it turned on. You also have to have an M365 Copilot license. Now, keep that in mind. Like, those are kind of pieces you need to go and do what we're doing here. But then people without a Copilot Studio license can absolutely leverage the output of these columns. It's just you, the builder of it. And I don't really have a good video yet on like the whole mechanics. For some people, it just works. Some people, it doesn't. If you struggle with that, I'll leave a link down in the description below that talks about how to turn it on in more detail. But I'm going to assume that you've got the knowledge agent, and that's why you're here. Here you can see that with my document library, I'm uploading a bunch of different contracts. And so one of the challenges with this, I've been running into this recently with a lot of my agent building work, is that people want to ask questions about the guts of these documents, but not like, can I bring my dog to the office, which should search through all your documents, find it in the document, and return that answer right through what we call RAG. But they want to ask questions, like, get me all the contracts over a certain amount of money, or all the contracts that expire in this many days, or, those types of questions where they really want like to look at all the documents and then pull out specific details. So that is not the way that a lot of our agents work today. So what we're having to do is we're having to pre-extract this information to support the queries that they want to ask like that. And for a while there, I was using Power Automate with AI Builder, right? The AI prompts to kind of do it, right? It does it great, but then I'm paying for the credits. So a couple weeks ago, maybe last week, 2 weeks ago, I don't know, I finally kind of went and dug in deeper into these knowledge agents that have been out for a while. They're still in preview, but I've had access to them for a little bit here. And what I realized is that everything you see extracted here, right? SharePoint can do this for itself using the AI columns. I think that's why I'm calling them anyway. They don't have a fancy name, from knowledge agents. So what I want to do is we're going to create a new document library, add some content, and build this out so we can kind of see how this extraction process works. So let's just do that first. Let's go over here to, site settings, site contents. As a guy who wrote 6 books on SharePoint, they move everything all the time. I'm always confused. All right, so we'll say new document library. We'll say blank library, and then we'll call it contracts for video. Something simple, right? So we'll create the document library. And once again, I'm in the Copilot agent site, not in that usual Power Apps video site you've all seen 1,000 times, because that one is on the old template and none of this works over there. That only works for modern sites. Okay, so now that we've got this in here, let's just upload a handful of documents. We'll say upload. All right, so we got like 20 contracts here. So we're going to put these into the document library. And as you'd imagine, they're uploaded, right? That's not new. So now that we've got the 19 files in here, now if we look over here in the bottom right, and I don't know where I'm gonna put my face in this video, but that's a problem for me in a minute when I edit this video. Anyway, over here, we click on the little knowledge agent here. What we're looking for is organize this library. Now this is important, right? Because if we had been over here on the home page, and then we clicked on the agent, right? Like, we don't get the organize. So if you're not seeing it, you might not be in the right place. So let's make sure that we're in our contracts for videos. And now we can click on that. Now we see organize the library. There's other cool things it does, but today we're just focused on organize the library. And so then now it's like, hey, I can create columns, create rules, extract, summarize, classify, all of these things. So what we want to look at first is creating columns. Now, if you click on this whole create columns, I don't even have to click on it. It just went and did it itself. It's basically saying, hey, these are the columns that I think would make sense. So agreement term, contract value, products and services included. Maybe you're happy with those. Maybe you're not. I don't know. So when you look at these, let's say that agreement term, we just don't like that one whatsoever, right? So we'll just go ahead and say remove, it's gone. And now if we go here to contract value, if we say edit, so look, contract value, there's a name, there's a description, there's a type, those all look correct. And now one thing that I have been running into problems with, is if you name it contract space value like this, it is going to make it contract X20 underscore blah, 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 that terribleness, which is made really hard working with it in Power Apps or with my Copilot Studio agents. So I would probably, do a little of this, right? Contract value. So if we're going to create it, we'll put it like that to begin with. Okay, now if you look down here under column options, autofill using a prompt, well, that's the whole point of this, so yes, please. And so basically it's saying, hey, here's the prompt that I'm using. Extract the total contract value from the document, output the value as a number with no commas or currency symbols. If the contract results in not found, return 0, return type number, right? It wrote all that for itself. And it basically went down here, and this is where it wrote the language to do that. So I show you that because if you're thinking, hey, I don't like what it did there, you can't edit this part. This is what's going to use. You go down here and edit this part, and then we're going to be able to change it, okay? So that is important to understand, is that you're going to change this part. We'll see that in a minute when we create one manually. But if we're like, all right, we're happy with all this, so we could just say save. Now keep in mind, it's still not saved, but it's saved, or changes are saved. Products and services included. I'd probably go here and then just real quick, delete out all these like so, and be happy I edited that out. I was typing like backwards or something. I don't know, it's terrible. Anyway, so there you go. We're happy with all that. So now if we say save, let's roll with these two. So we can now say save changes, and it's going to say save changes to current view or to new view. We'll say current view. And so at this point, it is going to save, and then it is going to start extracting out the metadata for up to the first 20 documents. Now, in this case, we only have 19. I didn't do that on purpose, but we only had 19. So it's just going to run for all 20 of these, and it'll probably take anywhere from 30 seconds to 2 or 3 minutes, depending on its mood. But Shane, I have hundreds of documents. No problem, right? So if it doesn't run, like the first time I did this for a customer, I think they had like 50 documents. I then had to go through and I would do a select all here, and then I could do autofill, easy for me to say, autofill columns, and then I clicked on autofill, and then it forced it to process those 20 files. Oh, look, it's while we were talking, it found there's our contract, there's our products, perfect. So is it still running on a few? Now, I found that sometimes, like if it doesn't, hitting refresh never hurts here. Like refreshing is not going to cause it to start over or anything. It just refreshes the UI. Sometimes it doesn't update as fast as we'd expect. But there you go. So there are all of our different contracts with all the different products pulled out and the contract values. Also, speaking of autofill, if you upload new files, they will just be automatically processed. So, right, first 20 just get done. If you have more than 20, you need to go select all and say autofill. And then any new files will automatically get done as well. And if for whatever reason you wanted to reprocess a file or two, right, I could go here, select these 2 files, and then I could say autofill, and then it would autofill on those 2 files for me as well. Okay. So we got our columns here, but we want more, right? There's a couple more things I want to show you there. We'll go over here and click on our knowledge agent and say organize this library again. Now, once again, when we drop in here, depending on its mood, sometimes it will go ahead and suggest some columns. Sometimes it'll be like, oh, I've already done this for you before, I'm not going to do more. Just be on the lookout here. But so we can just jump down here at the bottom and we could type out something like create an autofill column for contract end date. Determine the date by reviewing the contract and look for either a listed end date, or if it has a start date and a term length, then compute the date. That's a fairly robust instruction. Now, if you're thinking, Shane, is that like the best practice way to write that? I have no idea. These things are still in early preview, but last time I did this, it worked. So let's give it a try today. We'll say go. So now what it should be doing is it's using, some large language model under the hood to process and think about, all right, based on the data I see over here, what Shane wants, does that make sense? Do I feel like I can get it? And then it's going to basically kind of try it across a couple of documents. And now it's like, all right, it thinks it's happy with it, and it's starting to pop off dates. Without going and checking, I don't know that they're correct, but I can tell you that, they feel correct based on the data. So you'd want to validate, right? Trust but verify. And once again, we could go over here to edit. And so I would probably fix this up again. And I keep showing that because it really drives me crazy. It doesn't do it itself. But so then there's data type looks right. Once again, I could change these words again to, let it spit out whatever's here. This is what matters, but this is how I adjust what matters. But I think that looks good. So then we'll go ahead and say save for that. Now remember, saving that doesn't actually save it to the document library yet. So if we want to save it to the document library, we then have to say save and save here again. And I guess if you're wondering, could I have built 3 or 4 columns all at once before I did this save? Because we know this kind of takes a minute or two to run. Yes, absolutely. I could have done all the columns at once in that one session and then updated them in one fell swoop. I just, for the sake of the video, I've been doing them kind of one at a time. But now, if we wait a minute, 2, 3, it is going to go ahead and pull those out. There you go. It's already starting to pull those out. Now, for example, here though, I look at this, I don't care about the time, right? There's no sense of time. It's just a date time column by default. So if I want to edit one of these columns, you're going to click right here in the dropdown, column settings and edit, right? You can't go to library settings and edit. I mean, you'll see the column there, but you can't change the AI settings through the normal document library mechanics. You have to use this interface. But so then now we just go down here, get rid of our time. And as well, now because we've done a save, if we wanted to make changes and test again, we could choose any file here. And we'd be like, hey, and we didn't change it, but if we had, we could have done it and done a test and send, all right, what would you get from that one file? And then, assuming that's the correct date, woohoo, we are happy, all right? But now that we've updated all that, and your other things that are expected down here, require this column contains, you're going to see your different SharePointy stuff down here. So go look for that as necessary, but we'll say save. And you can see just that fast, right? We're now getting the friendly look there. Now let's go back into the knowledge agent, right? So make sure you go back in the knowledge agent before you try to do any stuff. I keep clicking ahead of myself. So organize this library again. And so now if we click on add column, you're going to see that it opens up an interface here. So instead of using my words to kind of cause the interface, I could jump straight to the interface and manually build it. You'll see the different data types here, right? So not all your data types are here, but most of them are in place. Now, the one I want to talk about for a second that so far doesn't work very well in my experience is the choice. So if I do a choice column, it goes through, it works, it looks all good, it even previews well, but it hasn't been working for me once it gets published, saved, whatever. But that's okay, right? Because that's not how we want to do a choice, right? So if we're trying to do some type of classification, what we want to do instead, we're going to hit cancel down the bottom right. And so we want to do a classify documents, okay? Hey, if you're enjoying this, right? I've got tons of live classes where you and me could just be working on this either one-on-one or in a small group setting over at training.powerapps911.com, right? We've got classes on Power Apps, Power Automate, Copilot Studio, I don't even know, Power BI, Dataverse, administration, blah, 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 blah. We got lots of Power Platform and M365 training classes to help you over at training.powerapps911.com. So hopefully see you over there. So this is its way of making a fancy choice column, right? Like I don't understand the difference between classify and choice. It probably is one, but I'm not that smart. But this is going to give me that choice type experience. So create a classification column that categorizes each file by its document type, right? We don't want that. So then we're going to say that categorizes each file by, and then we're just going to delete out all this. And then we'll try something like categorize each file by a type of contract. The available options are project, support, and licensing. Right? I know it's the type of contracts that I have here. So now if we hit this, it is going to create this classification column. It's going to look very similar to the other one, but it's going to have a little nuance. We'll see in just a moment. There you go, contract type, classification column. And so then now if we say edit, and you can see they're already populating over here, so it knows I did a decent job. You're going to see that then it's like, all right, here's the name, right? And so because I am just so traumatized, we're going to fix that again. But then the categories, notice that each one of the categories, we've got both a name, so project, licensing, support, and a description. So depending on what your data is, you might need to write robust descriptions, right? Maybe you need it to categorize as, awesome, amazing, and spectacular. You have to define what is awesome, amazing, and spectacular, right? And you can't use Shane for all this. It knows me, but not that well. No, just kidding. Anyway, you get the idea, right? So you have an interface here to define the different choices. We're going to give them both a name and a description. Very important to your success. But you can add additional, you could delete these. You know how to work with this stuff once you've kind of tripped over it, right? That's the whole reason I'm trying to help you guys trip over this stuff. So we'll just cancel out there. But if we're happy with what we've got, once again, now that we've got that in there, now we would save our changes and then boom. And just remember, before you tell it to go run on everything, right? Let it do those first 20, not just in this UI, because we know when it's on this screen that it always works. Like when I did the choice columns earlier, that screen worked. When I got over here, when it recalculates them, that's when I need to see that it's actually working before I'm going to waste my time pushing across all of them, right? But here in just a moment, hopefully we'll see contract type. Woo, and it worked. Always nervous when making this stuff. So we've got what we would expect there. Now I'll give you another little tip though. I did try to do, you can change it to multi-select so it can have multiple contract types. That broke it. I'm sure it's just a bug. Hopefully it's fixed pretty soon, but just want to make sure any bugs I've seen, I'm kind of sharing with you. Okay, but so at this point, right, remember you have the ability still, you could go back here, and if you, for whatever reason, needed to autofill those or view recent activity, you want to know, just what was a recent activity for a couple. So then you have the ability to get it down to just the 3 files. So you can kind of filter this experience as well. Did any fail? None failed. So there you go. And now, real quick, before we finish this, I just want to show you then how I'm using this data, right? This is an actual customer project, well, a version, not their actual work. So I'll switch over to Copilot for Studio for a second. And this is my contracts agent I've built. And so if we go over here for a second and ask it, what support contracts are less than $100,000, right? So we're kind of pulling out 2 different fields. And if we hit the go button there, you can see that I'm writing an OData query to get those contracts back. And then I can be like, oh, that's awesome. That software maintenance and support is what I was looking for. And so I can say something like, give me more info on number 2. This is going to use the knowledge to go and find that file. And then now it's pulling in all the different information from there. So pretty cool stuff. We're not going to get into how that works today, but I want to show you that this is the type of things that as you start to get files and metadata, rich metadata about them, and by using AI instead of counting humans, it goes a little better. Then you can start to ask these types of questions in your other agents and other tools. So that's everything I've got for today. Hopefully you enjoyed this. Hopefully it gets you going right. SharePoint knowledge agents have a lot of facets, a lot of things they're doing, and it's still in preview state, so it's still changing a little bit. So if you got questions, comments, ideas, things you'd like to see in other videos, leave them below, right? A lot of my YouTube videos come from the questions and stuff that you guys see. Or of course, if you want just help building this for you, right? I'm building this for other people, then just hit us up over at powerapps911.com. We are happy to help you build this or any other type of solution. And with that, I'm going to say thanks and have a great day.